I'd like to call this meeting to order. Slam that. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so Haley's first.
Okay.
But she's not on the agenda.
Okay. So, Haley, yep, you are first.
So I don't want to be repetitive for you, but I just want to introduce you to Haley Brenner, who's our student rep on the board. She's also student council, right? And president, thank you. And you can do all the rest. How's that? Okay. And you tell me if I need to click a slide, all right?
Okay, so on March 14th is Wednesday. It was a month since the Parkland shooting in Florida, as I'm sure a lot of you know. And it was also National School Walkout Day. So nationally, schools were walking out against guns and asking lawmakers to make more strict gun laws and against gun violence in schools. But so as Eden, we knew that we wanted to be a part of it, but obviously Eden's a very hunter-gun, pro-gun kind of town, which is great. Everyone has their own opinions, that's fine. So we didn't want to make it towards guns. Our walkout was more against gun violence in schools and violence in schools in general. So we wanted to get that out to the students, and it was completely student-run. But because we have such a good relationship with the administrators, we had our walkout in the auditorium on Wednesday instead of walking outside the building because we felt it was safer than having every kid in America walk outside their school on one specific day at one specific time. That's really sketchy. So we all walked into the Aud, and I just wanted to share what was said at the walkout because I know some people were interested. So at 9:58, we started because it was from 10 to 10:17. We said, "Good morning. It is 9:58, so we will begin the remembrance ceremony in 2 minutes. Before we begin, please be aware that this demonstration is not to show support or disapproval of guns, but to promote safety in schools and an end to the violence that we students have been witnessing for our whole lives. We will be holding a remembrance ceremony for those who have lost their lives at the hands of gun violence in schools and ask that you remain silent throughout the entire ceremony. If you are unable to do this or you feel that this demonstration is not for you, you may quietly leave the auditorium and please report back to your 4th period class. Thank you." Now, before I give the rest of the presentation, basically what we had on stage was 17 seniors. We were all dressed in black. We had a flower, each of us, and they were members of the student council, class officers, National Honor Society, 17 well-known seniors that most of the kids knew. And we were just kind of telling people, listen, it's not against guns, it's against gun violence. These 17 kids, it could have been us. It very well could have been those 17. So that kind of hit home for some people. And we had each of us go up there, and as you see with the PowerPoint, after I give this next part of the presentation, we each had one student out of the 17 victims, and we read a short bio about them, lit a candle, and had a small moment of silence for each one before having a larger one for the whole group. So then at 10 o'clock, we began. As students, none of us have lived in a world where school shootings are rare occurrences. Nearly every week, there are more and more deaths attributed to gun violence in schools. There have been 18 school shootings so far this year. From the 1999 Columbine High School massacre to the 2007 Virginia Tech shooting, the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in 2012, to the recent school shooting in Parkland, Florida, the violence seems to never end. How can we live in a world where we must fear going to school? Your school should be a safe place. No child should have to fear what waits for them at school, and no parent should have to fear that one day their child won't come home. People say school shootings have become normal. The brutal murders of innocent children and faculty members is not normal. It cannot become normal. Children are losing their lives. Students like you and me. Parents are burying their children. Brothers and sisters are burying their siblings. Friends are burying their friends. School shootings do not need to remain a reality. Our generation was born into this tragic world where school shootings happen, but our generation can be the one to put an end to it. These deaths do not need to keep happening. They must not keep happening. Change is necessary. Everything goes back to the way people are treated. Treat others the way you want to be treated. It's the golden rule. Know that gun violence in schools does not need to be our reality. promote peace, promote safety, promote awareness, promote kindness. Enough, we remember, never again. We will now read off the names and short bios of each of the Parkland shooting victims. Please remain silent as we honor the lives lost and remember those who are unable to live out their lives as the great men and women they were and surely would have become. So then we had this presentation going in the odd on the big screen for everyone to see. So this was, do you want me to read?
Sure.
Okay, so this was Meadow Pollock. She's 18. Meadow was looking forward to attending Lynn University in Boca Raton, Florida. Her parents, Shara Kaplan and Andrew Pollock, called her cell phone over and over on Wednesday in the hours before discovering that she'd been shot to death, the Palm Beach Post reported. Alyssa Aladuff, 14. Student at Stoneman Douglas and a soccer player for Parkland Travel Soccer. Alyssa was a beautiful, smart, talented, successful, awesome, amazing soccer player. You'll be greatly missed, Alyssa. We love you so much. You'll always, always be in our hearts. Helena Ramsey, age 17. Helena was a smart, kind-hearted, and thoughtful person. She was deeply loved and loved others even more so. Though she was somewhat reserved, she had a relentless motivation towards her academic studies, and her soft, warm demeanor brought the best out in all who knew her. She was so brilliant and witty, and I'm still wrestled with the idea that she is actually gone. Scott Beagle, age 35, a dedicated camp counselor and teacher who was about to propose marriage. He was killed while ushering students back into the classroom when the shots broke out. Martin Duque and Guiano, age 14. His brother stated, he was a very funny kid, outgoing, and sometimes really quiet. He was sweet and caring and loved by all. Most of all, he was his baby brother. Nicholas Dworet, 17. Nicholas, a senior, was all set to attend the University of Indianapolis, where he had received an academic scholarship and committed to join the swim team. Nick's death is a reminder that we are connected to the larger world, and when tragedy hits in places around the world, it often affects us at home. Aaron Fikes, 37. An assistant football coach was killed when he threw himself in front of students to protect them from oncoming bullets, according to the football program spokeswoman, Denise Litio. Fikes suffered a gunshot wound and died after he was rushed into surgery. Luke Hoyer, 15. A freshman and avid basketball player, Luke loved his family and loved sports. He could be quiet, but he had a big heart, said his first cousin, Grant Cox. It was just fun to be around him. On the morning of the tragedy, Luke and his mother were able to share one last I love you as she dropped him off at school. Jamie Guttenberg, 14. Her father writes, my heart is broken. Yesterday, Jennifer Guttenberg and I lost our baby girl to a violent shooting at her school. We lost our daughter, and my son Jesse lost his sister. I am broken as I write this, trying to figure out how my family gets through this. We appreciate all of the calls and messages, and we apologize for not reacting to everyone individually, he added. Hugs to all, and hold your children tight. Christopher Nixon, 49. The Douglas High athletic director and wrestling coach was the kind of person who would do anything for anyone, fellow wrestling coach Alan Held told the Sun Sentinel newspaper. He would give you the shirt off his back, said Dan Jacob, athletic director at the neighboring Coral Springs High School. Cora Loran, 14. Kara danced at the Drake School of Irish Dance in South Florida. Kara was a beautiful soul and always had a smile on her face, the dance studio said in a statement. We are heartbroken as we send our love and support to her family during this horrible time. Gina Montalto, 14. One of her middle school color guard instructors told the Miami Herald that Gina was the sweetest soul ever. My heart is broken into pieces. I will forever remember you, my sweet angel, Manuel Miranda told the paper. Joaquin Oliver. He was such a positive person. He always knew how to make us smile. Zach said as he walked to a memorial in the Parkland Park Thursday evening. He said Joaquin loved singer Frank Ocean and had been visiting colleges in Central Florida. Elena Petty, 14. Elena was already dedicated to community service. She participated in the Army's Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps and volunteered in the cleanup after Hurricane Irma ravaged parts of Florida last year. Alex Shachacher, 14. Alexander was a talented musician who played trombone and baritone in the marching band and also loved playing basketball, said Gargaro of the Marching Eagle Parent. Peter Wang, 15. A freshman and member of the Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps, Wang had dreams of becoming a world-renowned chef. Peter was a happy and caring person, genuine traits that he picked up taking care of his two younger brothers, his friend wrote. He always made it a habit to cheer people up when they were down and went out of his way to help people. Carmen Chentra, 16. She was a National Merit finalist, but unfortunately, the letter arrived in the mail the day after she passed, so she never knew that. Stoneman Douglas student Ariana Ortega told lawmakers in Tallahassee, adding that her classmate was among a select group of 15,000 students. She was going to change the world, and I'm sure of that, but she doesn't have the chance now, Ortega said. That's all 17 of the students, and we found it was kind of interesting, all 17 of us, we picked which student, and each of us picked someone that you could kind of see part of yourself in. So like that last girl, I choose mine. So like the national merit thing kind of got me, and other people picked, oh, this person has my hair, this person is in a marching band like me. So that was kind of just shocking, and it definitely hit home, and I was glad that the Eden students participated in it. So just to close, we stood for a moment of silence and then said, thank you for your silence, cooperation, and support as we remember the students whose lives have been cut short. Your support is greatly appreciated. We then raised the Eden Raider Memorial flag to half staff, and everyone was sent back to 4th period.
So, next steps, not sure.
I think mostly it was to raise awareness, because for us specifically it wasn't about the guns, and I think nationally we did that. Unfortunately, I'm sure a lot of you know there was a school shooting yesterday in Maryland where 3 students, including the gunman, were killed. So hopefully things begin to change, but I think the younger generation, our generation, promoting awareness now is going to start the change.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Is that it? Okay. Sorry, I'm not, okay. Anything else from the administration and staff?
Nope.
Nope, we're good? Okay. Item 3, any requests to withdraw specific items from consensus items?
Yes. Need to withdraw S.
Okay. So we're removing the day field trips for now, and extended field trips, correct?
If somebody goes with it, yeah.
I'm sorry?
Oh, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. So we're removing.
You just need to speak up a little.
Sorry.
But Jen's in charge.
I am, and I'm trying to multitask here, and it's not working. Okay, so we're back up. So item 4, routine actions. Approve consensus items. That the following consensus items be approved as listed in the administrative memorandum A through R.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried.
So now could you bring S back up?
Bring S back up.
Right. Barb, how do we do that?
Okay.
How can they bring it back up because they need to amend it? Just bring it up. She makes it sound so easy, doesn't she?
Bring it up.
Just bring it
Okay.
up. Just read it.
Okay, so item S, approve, what part of it is amended, though? Am I changing anything?
We'll talk about it once
Okay.
you read it.
So approve policy, that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, policy number 8460, day field trips and extended field trips be approved.
Second.
Discussion.
Any discussion?
Yes. So, see, we're getting the hang of it now. So, we made some further changes to this between the first and the second read. If I could just ask Mrs. Tomasulo to just, if you could just briefly talk about what they were. They were not content-driven. They were typos. She did it, so I think it's better if you talk about it.
The attorney sent it over with some typos in it, not me. They were missing a couple words here and there, like to and the. There was one word that should have been must, and it was much. And
And then from the original draft of the field trip policy had day field trips and excursions.
Right.
And I really didn't want the word excursions
we
in
took
any of our lengthy
excursions
field
out
trips.
because it was redundant with
Yeah.
the word trips.
So we
took
just took
that
it out.
throughout.
Yep, so the content of it is the same, but the wording is different, so we had to have conversation on it.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried.
Excellent.
All right, now is the time that the board is designated to receive statements from individuals and groups. The board will review all statements and respond appropriately at a future meeting. All persons in attendance are required to sign the attendance sheet and designate their representation status, for example, parent, teacher, bus driver, chamber of commerce, etc. There is a 2-minute time limit. Anybody? All right. I'm going to move on then to item 5, new business. Appointments. All appointments will not be effective, and service to the district pursuant thereto shall not begin until there has been compliance with statutory and regulatory provisions for fingerprinting, certification, and clearance for employment. Here are the recommended motions. Number 1, appoint a groundskeeper that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, John Herkel III, be appointed on probation as a groundskeeper effective March 23rd, 2018, and ending September 22nd, 2018. Salary is based upon CSEA contract level 9, step 1.
Second.
Any discussion?
I don't see John here, am I right? Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Item 2, appoint election inspectors that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, Mrs. Rita Sturr, head inspector, Mrs. Karen Cornell, Mrs. Virginia Gunther, Mrs. Marian Fallon, and Mrs. Ann Sheehan be appointed as inspectors for the annual meeting and budget vote on May 15th, 2018, at a rate of $13.40 per hour, and further authorize the district clerk to fill any vacancies in these positions which may occur prior to May 15th, 2018, with individuals from the Board of Elections inspector personnel list.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Item 3, permanent appointment. That upon the recommendation of the superintendent, after successfully completing her probationary period, Amy Blake be permanently appointed as a bus attendant effective April 1st, 2018.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Item 4, permanent appointment. That upon the recommendation of the superintendent, after successfully completing her probationary period, Sarah Wakelam be permanently appointed as a cafeteria monitor effective April 1st, 2018.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Item 6, permanent appointment. That upon the recommendation of the superintendent, after successfully completing her probationary period, Kristen Chiandra be permanently appointed as a teacher aide effective April 11th, 2018. Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry.
Do you want to do 6 and
We'll
then
do
back
6,
up to
yeah.
5?
Yeah.
Second.
All in favor? Or wait, sorry, discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Reversed in item 5. That upon the recommendation of the superintendent, after successfully completing her probationary period, Rebecca Lape be permanently appointed as a teacher aide effective April 11th, 2018.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Item 7, appoint Dignity Act coordinators. That upon the recommendation of the superintendent, Jeff Cervoni, and Mark Shivitz be appointed as Dignity Act coordinators in the Eden Junior Senior High School.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, so normally you would see this at the reorg meeting in the beginning of the July, but because we have a change in staffing, you're seeing it now, and then you will also again do things at the reorg in July.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Item B, approved draft of legal notice. That upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the draft of the legal notice for the annual district meeting and vote be approved as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Item C, Approve negative declaration of the SECRA?
Seeker?
That upon the recommendation of the superintendent, it be resolved that it is the final determination of the district's Board of Education that the proposed capital outlay project involving modest upgrades and improvements to the district's senior high school building be a type 2 action under the seeker. I don't like how that sounds, but anyways, which is not subject to review under seeker, and the proposed action will not result in a significant adverse impact on the environment, and authorizing and directing the inclusion of funding for such project in the district's proposed 2018-19 budget.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, so basically what this means is that, and it said it, but in an upshot, is that the work that we're doing should not cause complaints by our neighbors and does not have an environmental impact. And if you look at the next one, the next motion that's there for you, it pretty much tells you what that seeker was about, which was replacing some sidewalks in this area, and then on any capital outlay, a certain percentage, I think it's 10%, am I right?
Yes.
Has to be done inside, so we're going to be replacing some ceiling work in this building as well. And remember, these capital outlay projects are a maximum right now of $100,000.
Okay.
Okay?
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Item D, approve capital outlay project, that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, a $100,000 capital outlay project be approved for the 2018-19 school year. The project will include ceiling work and replacing the front entry sidewalk at the senior high school and the area by the library on an alternate bid.
Second.
Any discussion?
So that you're aware, this is something that will be voted on by the taxpayers of Eden when they vote on our annual budget.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Item E, excuse me, approve tuition rates for 2018-19. That upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the 2018-19 tuition rates of $8,105 for grades K through 6 and $8,459 for grades 7 through 12 be approved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Item F, approve Model UN overnight field trip. That upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the overnight field trip for the Model UN Club to the Model UN competition at Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, April 19th, 2018 to April 22nd, 2018 be approved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Only Adam, I see. Do you want to just take 1 minute and tell the board what you're doing?
Sure.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Adam Markecki. I'm the president of the Model UN Club, and on Thursday, April 19th, we'll be leaving from the school approximately around 1 o'clock to Cornell University. We'll be participating in a highly ranked, extremely competitive UN conference at Cornell University. It'll take course over 4 days, and there'll be multiple committee sessions throughout the day of intense debate among students from all over the world, including South Africa, China, Japan, and many other European nations. This was, if you remember from my speech earlier this year, this was ranked top 3 of competitions across the entire world. So it'll be very, very intense.
Will you come back and tell us about it after?
Of course.
And I'd like to proudly say, which I saw Adam kind of get a little nervous earlier when we pulled out the field trip policy, is that they have followed that new policy to the letter. And so I really appreciate that, because there was a transportation change in the end. So, and I was able to tell the board about it, so I appreciate that. Okay, we expect to see you back. Do well.
Good luck.
Good luck.
All right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Item G, approve chopper build team overnight field trip, that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the overnight field trip for the chopper build team to the Donnie Smith Bike and Car Show, March 22nd, 2018 to March 26th, 2018 be approved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Last year, they took first, so the competition is on. I saw the bike. It looks good.
It's awesome. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Item 6, information and proposals. A, the business report.
Hi, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what some of the executive proposal would cost Eden School District if everything is passed as the governor had put out. So the governor is looking to cap transportation, BOCES, and building aid to 2% growth from the prior year. The New York State Association of School Business Officials ran data for all the districts to see what each individual district would lose. We would lose $85,602 in building aid, an additional $301,914 in transportation aid. We would lose nothing in BOCES, but in special ed for the summer program, where they would take it from an 80% reimbursement to a 25% reimbursement, we would lose $8,927 for a grand total of $396,442. So when you're doing your advocacy, please remember, we do not need those kind of restrictions on our districts. And that's all I have this evening.
Okay. Sandy, Superintendent's report.
Yeah, I'm going to ask for a little bit of help on all of these, as opposed to being the third party to respond, but for the district concert last night, if you had a chance to see it, it was really
was awesome.
super, quite impressive, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was really good.
Don, were you out of town? Or you were out of town, so you missed it. There's no redo on that one. So it was
really
cool.
good.
Yeah, I saw Georgia sitting over on the left, but I do see Mrs. Ullman here. So would you mind taking a moment, Mrs. Ullman, and just talking about some of the highlights from last night? Because you're going to do a much better job of it than I am. So she's had emails come out all day long, because it was quite the affair. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm better writing.
Yeah, will you just pull the mic down for you? There you go.
I'm better writing things down ahead of time. But anyway, we started out with inviting Doug Allen from the Buffalo Sabres to come and sing the Star Spangled Banner at O Canada. The 5th grade students accompanied him, so that was quite a thrill for them. We learn O Canada every year because they study that in social studies, and of course our Star Spangled Banner. And what a treat to have him come. We have an autism student in our district who just loves Doug Allen for some reason. So the special education teachers arranged for his parents to bring him. I think he's from Orchard Park, and he got to meet Doug Allen and get his autograph. He had his shirt on today that said, "God bless Doug Allen." Have pictures of him.
Quite the voice, too, Doug Allen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was that was the great start to the program. This was our 40th annual district orchestra concert, and I had gotten posters from 1938 was the first yearbooks that I could find in the library, and took pictures of all those, and we had pictures and posters all in the front foyer showing the growth of the orchestra from that time. So it's at least 80 years in the running.
So there were pictures of our seniors as 4th graders in there. I saw some. Yeah. Mr. Griesinger messaged it, too. Yeah. Yeah.
Parent volunteers hanging up about 40 posters after school yesterday.
It's
so
beautiful.
We had a good slew of help, so that was great. The 4th graders played up till the seniors in high school. I had a group of friends that were willing to come, because I tell the students that this is something they can do for the rest of their lives. So I decided to prove it to them. So I had people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and we did of all the concerto together for 4
It's beautiful.
It was beautiful.
There was one little girl whose mouth, and who sat to my right? It would be 5th grade, right? 4th grade was here, 5th grade was here. Her jaw just dropped open when you all started to play, because you played too. It was good.
And then we ended with Mr. Griesinger and my students, and all put it together for one
Yeah.
big. And then we had in the foyer a raffle, and we raffled off, somebody had donated a violin, so somebody won a violin, and we had gotten a hockey stick from the Sabres, and a
And a
cap.
yeah.
And somebody donated a week at a camp, so
Yeah.
people were excited about that.
There was the
They-
music
they
camp
all-
for the summer, right?
It's a Christian girls.
Okay.
Girls and boys camp. It's
Okay.
not necessarily doing with music.
Okay.
They do some music.
Okay.
And the food trucks were there, so it was
Busy
a
night.
busy night.
It was nice. And Haley obviously was there, because
She's the concert.
yeah. Do you want to talk about it a little bit? Just talk closer to the mic. Thank you, Mrs. Ullman.
Thank you. And the reason I called the adult ensemble the Eden Honor Ensemble orchestra for students for over 80 years.
Right.
And so we wanted to honor
amazing.
the
It was awesome. I hope you do that every year. It was really cool. Haley, what did you think? I saw you smile once when you, yeah, thank you. So when everybody was playing, I saw you smile at some point. It's one of the kids
like
below
the
you.
long song.
Yeah.
So at the end, like, we all played together from like 4th grade till 12th
Oh, the 12th grade.
And I mean, I guess I don't know if the audience could tell, but like, it was a little off, but it's fine. It sounded fine. So we were just trying to like keep the tempo.
beat.
So like obviously I sit like in front, so I was trying to watch Mrs. Allman and also Mr. Griesinger.
That's right.
Keep up the
And play.
tempos and
Yeah.
play.
That's
But it was
right.
good. It was fun.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
It's
got a
fun to play
standing
with all the
ovation at
kids.
the end, which was pretty nice, too.
It was.
Yeah,
That
it
was
really.
yeah. I actually said I turned and I was like, oh, I don't know if I've ever gotten a standing ovation at like the concert before. Like that was cool.
It was awesome. So thank you both for reporting on that, much better than I could have. On Friday, we have an upcoming meeting with Senator Gallivan. I also want to just say hello to Karen Howard, who's here as a liaison out of Senator Gallivan's office. So thank you for joining us tonight. She gets to travel all over Western New York, and I know it's special when you come here. Do you want to talk about this meeting on Friday at all?
Yeah, I mean, we can.
Okay.
Ongoing budget issues that every district faces. You know, the Erie County Association of School Boards has come out with a multi-point advocacy bulletin. One of their big points is asking for the state to fund 50% of every school district's budget. You know, I think it's a noble quest, but reality is I think we need just flexibility in the money that we have. Relief, I think, with the tax caps. Maybe stronger reimbursement for some of the mandates. Consistent reimbursement for mandates, I think, would be a little more realistic. And I'm curious to hear Senator Gallivan's ideas and what he thinks we should be advocating for. I mean, Assemblyman DiPietro was here a couple of weeks ago, and, you know, he understands that we're up against tough times and that he recognizes that the struggles that Eden faces aren't necessarily what's seen in every district across Western New York or even New York State. There's a lot of inadequacies.
So the inequity that...
Inequity,
Yeah,
that's the
that you've heard me talk about at Eden is that you can go just a couple miles north and stand on any intersection in Hamburg. I'll just take one intersection in Hamburg and get 4 businesses that could add to our tax base. We really don't have that. Or you can see homes being built, homes for sale, 5 miles north of us. You come to Eden, there's 16 homes for sale in Eden, and a bunch of them are phantom. So unless you really want to buy a house, or you can afford a house that's super expensive, $200,000-300,000, or a house that's $45,000, $50,000, $60,000, which means it's a lot of work, you just aren't able to move here.
Right.
And so it's really complicated because we can't increase our student base, and we can't increase our tax base. So each year, we're dealing with less and less funding coming from federal and state, and yet the pie for the residents remains the same, which means their taxes go up, even though they don't see any reason for that, but it's because there's few of them paying for it.
So, I guess the big question moving forward is, we fought to eliminate the GEA, and that happened, but we still have a lot of work to do with foundation aid and unfunded mandates. So I'm excited to meet with Senator Gallivan. I'm interested to hear what he has to say. And I did send out advocacy letters to the unions as a last-ditch effort. I also forwarded them to the boosters. And so we'll see. It's been an exhausting, never-ending process, but something we have to keep fighting for. So if anybody has any thoughts, input, ideas, I would love to hear them. But we will definitely report on what the senator has to say at the next meeting. And, I know when Laura talked about the tax caps on the building, transportation, BOCES aid, I think what we're hearing right now is both parties both in the state assembly and the Senate are against this. I don't really foresee any of it going through. I mean, everybody we've talked to pretty much says that they're not. This is almost a moot point. But you never know with our current leadership what the governor, I'll be more specific, what can happen. Anything is possible. So it's not over till it's over, so we'll see. But I'm hoping that it doesn't become a reality.
Thank you. I appreciate you talking about it. The next one is a resolution by the town of Eden on school safety, and resolutions tend to be pretty wordy, but what I'll read to you, and then I will definitely send it out to you, is this phrase. It says, "Let it be resolved that the Association of Erie County Governments does support the school safety package, specifically Galvans 7810A, 7811, 1144, and 7791, and asks the honorable members of the New York State Assembly of New York State Senate and the governor of the state of New York to follow in the New York State Senate's example and include funding for these necessary programs in this year's budget and to provide our schools this valuable resource and security." So basically what those sections are is to provide a mental health coordinator grant, a grant for school resource officer, possibly a reimbursement for school resource officer, and there's a number of different items in that. You have that. I've sent that along to you, and I will also get this up. So just so you know that the towns are also looking at this. So what this leads into right now is that the town did approach us about sharing the, and being a partnership for a school resource officer for next year. We spoke about this with Senator Gallivan's office last year. Our hope certainly would be that the package would go through in some form so that we would be able to get a grant or a reimbursement for this. The cost of a school resource officer is equivalent, if not a little bit higher, to a new teacher. So it's kind of a sticky point for us right now because we don't feel that given everywhere we are that we can really move forward without one. So it is in the budget for next year. The other thing that's also in the budget for next year is another social worker, which would be equivalent to a mental health coordinator in the grant that's written, and I believe that bill was through Senator Gallivan. So again, same thing within the teacher's contract as a social worker. We have one for the district now, which is Helen Knabb. This would allow one for elementary and one for high school. What this does then is it allows us to hit it from a prevention with the social worker or mental health coordinator, and second from a deterrent, which would be a school resource officer. The town, though, does not vote on their budget until November, December, because they run on a fiscal year. So we will put the school resource officer into our budget and hope that the town their offer is to, we're hoping that they would share it equally as a partnership, but of course it would be presumptuous of me to say that they are until they actually vote in the fall. Okay. And then the last, we've talked about this a little bit over time, but the committee has made a decision. The Wall of Distinction recipients, so just to back up, for many, many years, the Alumni Association of Eden has had an athletic wall of recognition that you see out in the athletic wing, but there has not been a wall of distinction for areas other than athletics. So for community service, for exemplary work in your field or in a particular area of life or your career. And so this is something that I brought forward last year. It's taken me much longer to get it going. It's my fault, no one else's, but we were hopelessly tied. We had 7 or 8 nominations. We had a committee of 8. We were able to narrow that down to 2 people. We then couldn't make a decision between the 2 people, so we sent a questionnaire to those 2 people so they could tell us why they're doing what they're doing, not just what they do, but what is your story? And it was compelling, both of them. And so we have a tie. We're thrilled that Eden has 2 people that are so worthy of this. One is Kim Curtis, class of 79. She was a Wangluck is her maiden name, and Barbara Yale, class of 1990. Kim Curtis is a well-renowned author and speaker on how to use your finances, how to, reasonably well. Her story will tell you that she grew up very poor, free and reduced lunch, and how that just affected her entire life. And Barbara Yale is Chuck Yale's daughter. He nominated her. And she works in the Congo doing humanitarian work in the Congo. So we're thrilled. So I'm hoping that Even House will work with me to create a plaque that they get, and a plaque that will go up in our hallway of our new district offices, because we soon will have a hallway, and they have both offered to come and speak to our students at any time. So I'm really thrilled. And then if I find my notes, one more thing is that when we first started the capital project, we identified close to $56 million worth of needs. That would have been way too much to take out to our community, so we brought it down to $22.125 million, and that was so grateful to the community for passing that, because most of those are safety and security upgrades in our district, which is now something that we're really thrilled about. So our security system, which means you'll get a tag, you'll go through a federal database to get in, double locking, double secure systems in all of our school districts, or all of our school buildings. But the one thing that was taken out of our plan from the get-go was a new PA system and new clocks, because it just didn't fit, and they were still working. Well, 4 years later, they're now not all working, and so we have enough money in the project to put that back out with the design. We have to have a architect look at it. We have to go out for bid on it. And I'm hoping that if all of that is successful, that we'll have a new PA system and clocks in by late fall. Yeah, you're smiling. Why, Haley?
Because I do the announcements, and teachers get upset when they think I'm starting the announcements at the wrong time, but really their clock is just wrong. So I get yelled at, but I'm really doing it right.
So
That's a bonus.
you're glad. So we're hoping that there's some really nice state-of-the-art wireless ones, so that they just will, like your phone, work. But there's still some wiring that's involved. So that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. And that's all I
I
have.
say good afternoon. It is 2:11 here. I do.
Mr. Milson's laughing back there. Has he been one of the ones to yell at you?
No, he likes when I do the announcements. Only I'm allowed to do his announcements.
Okay. That's all I have.
All right, item C, the board report roundtable. Anybody?
Anything for roundtable?
I had an opportunity to attend the play, and once again, I'll state for the record, we have a lot of talented kids
Yes,
in
we
Eden.
do.
and,
I agree. Yep. It was awesome.
It's a rip, and it was really kind of cool to see. Seemed to be some younger students.
Yes.
Of course, there's seniors, but there are also some freshmen taking on some major roles. And
It's nice.
my wife and I have gone to several plays, and I don't know that we'll miss many plays in the future, even though my
Good.
son graduates this year, because if you're not going to the high school play, you're missing out on a fairly inexpensive, very enjoyable evening, and it's
A lot of work.
It's tremendous amount of effort by all the kids up there, but it's certainly an enjoyable
Haley, you were
evening.
in that. You want to talk about it all?
I love the musical. So I'm president. I love the musical. Adam too. So we had so much fun this year because it was basically
He
like
played an old man, so that was
he
fun.
played Old
Yeah.
Man. It was like our group of seniors that have been together since 7th grade that we all were basically the leads this year. And but except for our one freshman, Caleb, who's amazing. If you didn't see him, that's a shame.
He was
'cause
amazing.
He's phenomenal. But it was such a fun show. It was definitely the most fun show I've ever been in, and I'm really sad to let it go. It was a really good year. And we still have the Kennys that we're looking forward to. So our nomination ceremony is on the 18th of April. And then we'll be going to the Kenny Award ceremony in May. So we're all really excited to start.
That's a lot of fun, too,
It's
to go to
so-
Shays. It's a
so
lot of
much
fun.
And performing on their stage. It's really cool.
Cool.
So this will be our third time. Hopefully third time's a charm.
You did well the last two as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we won awards both times, but hopefully we get the
You won
big
the
one this
award.
time.
And I see kids up on the field also, Mr. Cudahy, with snow piles all around them. We're
Well-
getting calls about when we're going to, like, melt the snow up there. I just want you to know.
Yes, so I guess it's important to note for the community that if we drive a snowplow on our turf field, it will at least possibly, and more likely than not,
Crack it.
make some damage, and so we don't plow our turf fields.
Yeah.
We also don't snow plow our turf fields.
Look at
Turns out-
Marissa.
So it turns out you don't throw ice melter on a turf field, because the chemicals can get on the kids and the whole bit. And so, though we have an awesome turf field, we've been able to remove a small amount of snow.
It's been fun to watch them up there.
Through shoveling, very careful, adult-directed shoveling, and it's, it's certainly a blessing that we're out and playing
I'd love to put a
outdoors.
picture of that in the paper. I would.
But, who would have thought that snow could fall in March and last for
Ever.
a month?
Yeah.
It's just
Doesn't seem to be going away either.
We
We
still
had a
have.
game scheduled.
Adam?
It's starting. We had a game scheduled for every day this week, and there's just
But of course, the challenge is if we didn't have turf, the snow would melt, and then we'd still be 3
We still
weeks
couldn't
away
play. That's right.
before the mud is gone, and so.
So when it does melt, you'll be able to play, whereas all the rest of the fields are going to be underwater
And so
for a
much-
long
Football diamond
time.
looks nice and white there. It's very white. Yeah, very white, looks
Yeah.
good. Looks pristine and white.
So again, if we didn't have the turf, even the small section, all of those lacrosse players would be crammed into gyms with lacrosse balls flying all over the place. And so even though it has been far from ideal, it is still much better than
Worth it.
than not having it, so.
So there is a solution how to melt it.
Yes.
water.
So take a 55-gallon drum.
We talked about that.
Tried it.
No. And you put it on a stand and you put a, like a turkey fryer heater underneath it. And then what you do is you boil the water and then you put a sump pump in and you put a ton of garden hose and you run the hot water and recirculate it back. It's no different than
This is the engineer who's speaking here, yeah?
We will try that. We did.
Uh-oh, Marissa, watch
I
out.
have a question as Director of Finance. Do we have an estimate on the utility cost for this?
It's a 55-gallon propane tank that'll cost us
Okay.
$23, and I think the boosters will pay for it.
Okay.
So we tried actually to flip a 55-gallon drum
Yeah.
over. It
Didn't work.
No noticeable difference, because we have lots of barrels.
Really?
We tried to put a tarp down.
Didn't
And it's
still-
still up there. We're still experimenting, no noticeable difference. Now, we could put a giant tarp down, and maybe that would make a difference.
You need
This
to
is
create
just one
enough
tarp.
heat.
It's possible.
I think all this exploring and experimentation needs to be documented, because this is just an awesome
it
lesson.
really-
This is a great science lesson.
Turns out the snow will just melt.
By
The
Monday.
problem, the snow that's going to take the longest to melt is the piles that got
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fortunately, they're off
yeah.
the field, but you're right.
Yeah, you're right. Yes,
We
you're right. Where
hopefully
they
didn't
pushed
create
it
another
to.
problem.
Yeah, you're right, where they pushed it
But the
to.
hot water recirculation system,
I'm with you.
It's proven.
As president of Booster Club, we will fund that, and we will try it.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Okay.
Anybody else? Are you good?
Well, Paul had sent me a quick text. Sorry he couldn't be here. I'm sure he'll talk in more detail when he's at the next meeting, but he wanted to thank Ted McCarthy for having the officers walk through the buildings.
I can talk about that
Yeah.
some. So it was John McCarthy's idea. He is our school liaison from the town and has been for a number of years at the request of Ron Buggs, the former superintendent, but all of our police force at certain times are walking through all the buildings during the day and in the evening, so it's nice. It's twofold. It's so that the kids can get used to who they are and the staff, because there's some who are part-time that people don't know, but secondly, also so that they can become familiar with our buildings. So it's been good. It's been really good.
And then Paul, I don't know if you can speak to this at all, was going to talk a little bit about the conference he went to on Tuesday.
Yep. So a number of us went to UB Safety Conference yesterday. We go every year, but I do believe it was Paul's first time to go. And 2 officers from town went, the former Gowanda school resource officer went, a number of administrators, I know our social worker went, I was there, Laura was there. So yesterday, the first speaker was a mom from Sandy Hook, whose daughter was in first grade, who spoke, and Mrs. Gay. And the second speaker was the gentleman who is the executive director for the National Association for School Resource Officers, and how you go about doing the training and the memberships. And so Barb worked today to get us a membership into the NASRO. And so it was quite compelling. And then we had to leave towards the second shift, but there were other people who got up at the rest of the day and spoke. So it was good. What we'll do after spring break is to get everybody who went together with our administrators and just brainstorm some ideas that came across, because I think what we learned from Mrs. Gay, the mom from Sandy Hook, is there was no opportunity at Sandy Hook for them to get on the PA and say you're in a lockdown. So how do you know you're in a lockdown if there's no notice that you're in a lockdown, right? Most of us, when we hear a loud noise in the hallway, what do? We go out into the hallway, and that's exactly what happened at Sandy Hook, is that they went out into the hallway to find out what was going on. So it was quite compelling, quite emotional yesterday.
Anyone else? Okay. Future dates, budget workshop, Tuesday, April 10th, 2018, 6:15 in the junior senior high school cafeteria. And the regular Board of Education meeting and BOCES component vote date is Tuesday, April 17th, 2018, 7 p.m. in the junior senior high school cafeteria.
Just want to make note, both of those are Tuesdays, not Wednesdays.
Okay. And there is no executive session that's being
So
removed.
you could
So I
read it,
make
and people have to say no.
Oh, okay. Item 8, anticipated executive session, that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education enter executive session to discuss contract negotiations and the employment history of a particular person.
No motion?
No motion. All right.
So no motion, no executive session. Okay.
Perfect. Item 9, making a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Any discussion?
Okay. Thanks
All
for
in
coming.
favor? Aye.
You might have a record there, Ms. Horsel.
in an hour.
8 o'clock.